So here we are.
Okay. Yep.
Listener, you have
Here
the
we are.
two worst ones because
Yeah.
one's working,
Sorry.
one's working and the other's at a theme park. I'm not even joking. So you got us,
You might be surprised at which one's which.
and we just
Uh,
wanted to. I've always wanted to do this anyway,
yeah.
because I like talking to my friends, and
This is the pilot.
yeah, we'll call it a pilot.
Called the pilot.
So we're just gonna
Fuck it. We'll do with the
my
pilot.
vision for this, Chris, is we just kind of
Okay.
talk about whatever. For like an hour.
Okay.
But maybe in the future I can see twinkling in the distance a format.
Ooh.
But for now, there is no format. There is no
No form.
no outline. We don't have a structure in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just kind of talk about whatever. What do you want to talk about?
I think it would be fun to go over some of the supernatural experiences that we might
Hold on,
have
let me take a drink.
gone through. Uh, because I don't know about you, but I have a very strong belief in the supernatural.
Um, do you?
Yeah, it's why I will never go to like suspected haunted places. Uh, because I don't fuck with that shit.
I think it's interesting, but I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, maybe you haven't gone through anything like really supernatural.
I definitely haven't, and I never will because it's not real, in my opinion. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's my problem with people who buy into it. I'm comfortable with the way I see it. I'm really open-minded, I feel.
Okay.
Like if you, I've talked about this with you before. I believe that if you truly believe in something, that's your prerogative. It's as if you really believe that something is real, then it's as good as it being real for you, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's fine for me. That it works. So if anything truly supernatural happened, I don't think I would even recognize it as truly supernatural. I would just be like, oh, it's probably this. It's probably swamp gas and
It's probably swamp gas.
I don't know. I'm probably
Yeah.
hallucinating. Maybe I'm having a seizure right now and I don't even realize it. That's
Okay.
that's how I see it. You know.
So, all right. So explain this to me
All
then.
right.
Uh, this one time, I was at my grandparents' house, right? When I was little, like I was probably 13, 14, you know? Uh, and
When
nobody
you
else
were
was home.
little.
That's a littler than I am now.
I'm pretty sure you were the same size.
Well, that hurts. Uh, but anyway, uh, no one else was home. It was just me, and I was at my grandparents. And I was like playing on my Game Boy.
What game are you playing?
Probably Pokemon. Let's be real. It was probably Pokemon. It was probably the remakes. It was probably Leaf Green.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm like there, and I'm like, I'm getting tired of playing Pokemon. Gaming fatigue. So I'm like, let's find the remote and like watch some something on television. So I couldn't find the remote, so I had to turn it on manually and then go up to the dish box and click it to change it. So I got it changed to a channel, and I was watching television. And then suddenly it changed to The View.
Okay.
I don't know what channel it changed to, but The View was on,
All right.
and I'm like, okay, this is weird. What the hell just
Whoopi
happened?
Goldberg is on that. She also played in Ghost.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh so then I wander the house and I find the remote and it's sitting on like this small table we had uh next to the entrance into the hallway. So this is like 3 rooms over to where I am. And so how did it change? What happened there?
It was probably just, you know, nothing. It probably was literally nothing. Is my explanation for that. I think sometimes stuff just happens. Maybe
Okay.
maybe your cable box or whatever you were using
Uh
was
huh.
lagging, and you were like pressing it, like you hit the button a bunch of times to go to a channel that you wanted, and then you just
Yeah.
stopped when you got to the channel you wanted, but it was lagging, and it was like you would put in the inputs you had already put in on the cable box were just like queued up, and then it just did it all at once and went to the view.
It 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 was queued up for an hour or so.
Oh, it was an hour after.
It was a good time after.
What were you watching?
I don't know, something stupid on Cartoon Network.
Okay, maybe Foster's
Maybe
Home,
Dexter's, maybe Foster's Home.
because that was I hated Foster's Home. I
What?
hated it. They creeped me out. The only one I liked
Mm.
was the big purple bull guy.
Eduardo.
That's wonderful. All of the rest of them were creepy.
Wilt. Wilt. Well, Wilt is like a.
I don't even know which one that is.
He's the big tall red guy.
The basketball player,
Yes.
right? I'm sure a lot of people had crushes on the girl though.
Fran.
I don't even
Franny.
know the names. Um,
Because I have no life.
that's great.
um.
What's you
Okay.
mentioned before? You mentioned before we started recording that there were two. What's the next one? What's the next one, Chris?
Well, I was about to get into it. I was about to get into it. So that one you're saying was some sort of technical malfunction. Um, which now after I said that to you, when I was in college, uh, a buddy of mine was in the engineering department,
Yeah.
and I would always hang out with these bunch of Magic playing nerds, um, and some of them would bring in their PlayStation, and we would play fighting games because there was a television there. And one of the engineering people I was told had built a universal remote, so whenever they had to walk by us, if the we were playing a fighting game, they would change the settings or whatever to interrupt our game, which was dickish. But that could have happened.
To at your grandma's house.
Yeah, maybe one of the neighbors had gotten a universal remote and they had like the same type of television.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know how technology works. This is why I'm not an engineer. But second story. The second
Second
story.
story.
Also at my grandparents. Also at my grandparents. I was younger than I was for that first incident I was talking about. I was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
And me and my brother we would stay the night at our grandparents' house during the summer. Uh, and I remember I was in bed, I was sleeping, and I had like woken up, and like I I felt weird, so I got up, and I felt like there was something in the basement. So I go down into the basement, and I go to like the boiler room area of the basement. It's where the it's not really the boiler room, but it has this big tank in it that holds kerosene for the heater.
I love it when you
and I
over-explain things.
thanks. So I go in there and it's pitch black, and then these two giant green eyes appear in front of me, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a what's going on? And then I got the sense like it didn't want me there, and then
What
it
do you mean when you say that?
like when somebody just looks at you and they're
What?
like
What?
like you can like like they
Like they're
like
totally
you can
over it?
tell like they like they hate you or not really hate, just like I don't want to see you right now, get out of my face, type of snarky attitude, right? So I get the sense from it uh like hey, this is like where I live, you shouldn't be here, get the hell out. And it doesn't like push me, but it like psychically pushes me,
Psychically
and
pushes
I
you.
and it yeah. Yeah. And so I fly
Wait,
backwards.
what are you saying? Excuse me?
Yeah, I like fly backwards, and I go back the way I went down. So I like go up the stairs, and then I land in bed, and then I uh am jolted. I don't want to say I was jolted awake, but like I was knocked out and then
I'm
reawoken.
just gonna say right now. Okay. Okay. If this is absolutely real, let's just assume this is absolutely real. Where do we go from here?
Okay. There's
You're telling me that you've experienced, if this is 100% real, you're telling me that you've experienced irrefutable proof that demons who can force push you exist.
yeah.
I'm
I didn't get the sense that it was malicious though. It was just like this is where I live. Why the fuck are you here?
I am
Get out of my
choosing to
house.
believe that this was a hypnagogic experience.
Okay.
Like you were in especially because you ended up back in bed. And that's happened to me
Yeah.
before. It's never been like I remember this one time way long ago. I was
Uh-huh.
probably like 7, maybe even younger. I had this weird like it was a school night and I had just got in bed to go to sleep and it was this weird hypnagogic experience where I was definitely dreaming. I was on the playground and there were a bunch of people chasing me and then they caught me like other kids and they caught me and that jolted me awake. But like when I woke up, it wasn't that I had to remind myself that it was a dream or that I was almost asleep or anything. I felt awake the whole time, and it was like a legitimate hallucination. It felt that way at least. But now, of course, now that I'm older, I know that's just a thing that happens. It's a hypnagogia, something like that. That kind of experience.
Hmm.
But I cannot believe that that's real. That information doesn't belong in the real world. If it is real.
Okay. Uh so yeah, that's pretty much influenced how I look at paranormal things as that's real. That happened to me. Uh so yeah.
Um, yeah. I believe that it's real. At the very least, that it happened to you. I don't think you're making it up.
Yeah.
Um, I just can't. Like, let's just, again, pretend that it's all real,
Okay.
100%. How are we here? How did we get to where we are now if there are entities like this that exist? How is human beings as it, as we are? If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, this is my one story.
Okay. Okay.
Is and
Give it to me.
up top, I do not believe this actually happened. I think the summer it happened was in 2017. I thought I was gonna die. because I thought I had some sort of brain tumor or something, and that caused this episode.
Okay.
I it was I remember so many little details about it too, and that
Oh
scared me.
wait, I think you've
I
told me this
definitely have
story.
told you
If,
the
if
story.
it's the story thing, yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I remember so many little details about it, and that scared me because it made me feel like the fact that I could remember so many little things about it
Hmm.
made me think it was purposeful hallucinations that my brain was sending me or something. I don't even know. I don't understand brain chemistry. I don't know what's going on, but something about it scared me, and it made me think something about the little details scared me, and that made me think I was actually
Hmm.
gonna die. Uh,
Okay.
so it was August in 2017,
Hmm.
and uh, I had to take the trash out, and the cans were already on the curb, so I had to. It was dark at night. It was. I remember the time because as I walked by the clock on my way to the front door, and I saw that it said 10:10 or 10:11. Sorry, it said 10:11, and I only
Hmm.
even remember that because my weird brain saw 10:11, and I kept counting in my head. It was like 10:11, 12, 13, 14, 15. For some reason, I did that. So I go out the front door with the trash bags. I take them to the curb, and as soon as I arrive at the garbage can, something just feels weird. And I didn't realize what exactly was wrong. For the listener at home, I got a porch. I turn left onto the driveway. I turn right at the end of the driveway. On the right of the driveway is the garbage can. On the left is a traffic or not a traffic, a what do you call those? A street light.
Hmm.
And I'm standing there at the garbage can, and I'm like, what is wrong? Something's weird. And I look around, and I'm like, oh, oh my god, the street light isn't on. And I look at the street light, and I'm like, that's weird. What's so weird about this? Why is this weird to me? And I'm just looking at the street light, and then I realize, oh, it's not that it's not on. There's something in front of it. And I look closer, and it's like there's something sitting on top of the street light and wrapping itself around the light part, so I can barely see some light emanating away from where it's covering it up. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
weird. And then I don't even know what's happening. It's so dreamlike. I look down and look ahead of me, and there's just a thing there, a shape, like a shadowy form. It's kind of
Yeah.
sorta in the shape of a person, but it's not like it has arms and legs. It's just like a general outline of a
Like a shadow.
yeah. And I'm just staring at it,
Okay.
and I overwhelmingly get the sense in my head, and it's so weird. I get this sense that it's like a thought that I'm not having that says I should be afraid of you, of what I'm looking at. I should be afraid of this thing I'm staring at. And I don't even know what happened, but in the moment I'm just like, I'm not though. And I just kept looking at it, and I looked back up at the street light, and there it was still all covered up with something. And then I looked back down at the
Hmm.
shadow, and the shadow was gone, and then the street light came on. And then I'm just like, I put the bags in the garbage can, closed the lid, and then walked back inside, and the clock still said 10:11. And I must have had a weird look on my face because my mom was like, "What? You know, are you okay? What's wrong?" And I'm just like, "I'm fine." And I went to my room, and that was the whole story.
How long did it seem like it
I don't know.
lasted?
I have no idea. It felt like
Huh.
longer than a minute, that's for sure. And but the clock seems to disagree.
Hmm.
Like, if I am to believe that that actually occurred, and it was real and not some sort of hallucination or episode, first off, why me? Why is this weird eldritch supernatural entity accosting me? And secondly,
Okay.
what are the why? Why would it exist? Why would something like what was happening? What happened?
Huh.
There's no logic behind it. So I choose to think that I was having some sort of episode. I'm still alive. Spoiler alert. I didn't die of a brain tumor or something, and I
Whoa,
haven't had
really?
an MRI since then. So maybe, fingers crossed, something's really wrong. But who knows?
Maybe something was in your eye?
I mean, how could that explain the? When I think about it now, that's the
Uh-huh.
one part that doesn't have a lot of detail. Is the thing on the streetlight. I don't even really know what was going on. For all I know, if furthest reaches of my imagination, all of it has a logical explanation. It would be this: there was like a bag or something, like a black garbage bag, wrapped around the streetlight. It was casting a weird shadow in front of me, and I just got the orders wrong, mixed up in my head. And what actually happened is the shadow was being cast by this garbage bag, and like the wind wrapped it away from the streetlight and sent it flying. And actually, the light came on, and that made the shadow disappear, not the other way around.
Okay.
And the feelings of you should be afraid of me was just me thinking this is weird and I don't know what's going on. But then maybe my subconscious was like, just calm down, dude.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, my explanation of it is your reaction to it changed the outcome because that was some sort of angel of death
And it was coming
coming
to,
for
to
you.
harvest my soul.
Yeah, but you were like,
I
nah,
don't care,
not
man.
today.
I don't care.
I know! We cannot be any more different when it comes to.
I don't know. I
You're
think about
like,
that a lot. How would I act in a horror movie? Like if I were in It Follows.
okay,
I mean, I don't think I would
the
ever have any problems in It Follows because
the the STD
yeah, I don't
ghost.
I don't I don't get
Yeah.
any. But you know,
Uh
if I
huh.
were in It Follows, how would I behave? And I don't really know.
Judging my luck, it would be like an 8 year dry period, and then oh, she's into
Yeah,
me.
she's really into
No,
me.
she just wanted to pass on this STD
Yeah,
ghost to me, and then since I have 8 year dry periods, I would I would I would die. I would be horribly murdered by an STD ghost.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. um. Trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's any other paranormal things that I can think of.
Like this happened
I
to
always,
you.
yeah,
I wish John were
like
here.
yeah. I've always walked. I'm pretty sure Cody also has a couple stories.
He has a couple
Uh,
really creepy but really cool dreams that he had as a kid.
yeah, yeah. I remember I would always like to go through I would always like to go through I keep saying through. I used to always like going for walks through our neighborhood
Sure.
uh during high school and a little after uh at night cuz the fall weather in Ohio is perfect.
If you say so.
Um yeah, I say so. I know so. Come at me.
Just continue the
Uh
story.
but I always felt like I was like followed.
By what do you mean? Like what gave you that feeling? You think?
I don't know, like I would look around, there wouldn't be anybody, right? And I'd go and then I'd just be like there's someone behind me. And I'd look and there's nobody. And then I'd walk a little more. I'm like, no, there's someone behind me. And I look, and either I'm incredibly paranoid, uh, which is probably just the case, is that I'm incredibly paranoid, right?
You are fairly
Uh,
paranoid.
yeah. But there's a part of me that's like, no, there's like some spirit of some kind that was stalking you
But why
for some
you?
unknown reason. I don't know, because I'm out, because I'm doing things, because I'm an easy prey at that point. Uh, maybe it's a guardian spirit, but because I don't understand it, I'm scared of it.
I'm scared of it.
I'm scared of
See,
it.
when I hear stories like that, I think of this one way several years ago. I read some story on the internet. I'm just gonna say it was on Reddit, but I'm not certain of that.
Hmm.
Of a logger. They had been hired to cut down some tree at somebody's property, I think, and the it was the logger telling a story, and he said, like he just got a feeling, like his hackles raised about
Hmm.
this tree. Something was wrong with it, and uh, he told his like supervisor or whatever, we're gonna have to get this. I don't feel good about this tree. Um, we're gonna need to get this like more complicated piece of equipment because I think this tree is gonna buckle while we're cutting it. And the supervisor's like, no, no, screw off. It's such a hassle to get that thing on. And sure enough, they go up to chop it down, and it buckles, and it could have killed the guy chopping it down. And then somebody
Oof.
he couldn't explain what that feeling that he got was, and that's like what the impetus for the post was. And somebody in the comments said it was probably that your subconscious noticed something like the tree was swaying against the breeze.
Hmm.
And then he was like, that is exactly it. And I think in those situations, it's usually something like that. Like you are picking up on something that you're not immediately conscious of.
Yeah.
That's why you get that feeling of being watched, even though I'm pretty sure I've never once experienced that, the feeling of being watched.
See, I always thought like, just thinking of it from an evolutionary standpoint, that in times in places that could be dangerous for you, those that are overly cautious survive.
I mean, yeah,
And
I've talked about
and
this.
yeah, and so well, when I hear evolution and people thinking things from you, it's usually pareidolia. Um,
Yeah,
and so my immediate thought is the dangers of being alone at night, um, dimly lit. If something's following you, it's gonna be a predator, right? Uh, and so if you're constantly on the lookout and trying to feel for that, uh, then you're more likely to notice it and survive, oh, or be able to fight it off, which would then in turn make you survive.
great.
So, yeah, that's a long way of explaining that it was probably just that, and
Maybe.
my stupid higher brain is saying, nah, there's something to it. It's trying to connect patterns that aren't there, like faces on Mars.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, people used to say, or not people used to say, sorry. Cut that, cut that. Um,
got it.
people um, say that, like, we used to be way more psychic.
Yeah.
That, like, Neanderthals and the, like, maybe Cro-Magnon men were far more empathetic to a degree of near hive-mindedness. And, I don't know why I bring this up because it's like you mentioned. I don't even know why I bring it up. The point is, it's
Mm-hmm.
in like an evolutionary look at things. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But isn't it cool that people used to think monkey people were psychic,
It does kind of like,
even though they definitely weren't, and they're just another animal?
why would they be psychic? what what would be like the impetus behind that?
Well, I mean, I guess the idea is, I don't know. They had bigger heads. That's what it is. Their brows were distended, so they're like, oh, I guess they're psychic.
That
Look at this
doesn't mean anything.
bulbous, disgusting head this creature had. I bet it had psychic powers.
We know
I've
for a
I've read a
fact that
Marvel comic.
this thing looks like Brainiac. It has to have huge mental faculties.
Brainiac is DC.
Oh fuck.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Worthless.
well, I would say I'd go drown myself in the pool, but I had to tear it down.
Great. Now you have no pool or dignity.
Nope. Oh wait, there's a pond.
Right. Now
Yes.
what? Now what?
It's too dirty to drown in.
We have half an hour to fill.
Yes, yes. Well, you know ghost stories. I don't, but you do.
I
What are
mean,
some weird ghost stories you know
there's plenty of
that
weird
make
ghost
you?
stories.
Well, like this. Let's so far our talk's been about like skepticism, right?
Okay.
So what are some ghost stories that make you think, huh?
Well, the problem with ghost stories is I don't believe any of them. Like, because
Okay.
if they do make me go, huh, then it's like there's such a disconnect.
Okay.
It's either that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, and then I hit the line that is, oh, this is either real or somebody just made it up. Because, like, if I am to believe, if the gap between that's fake and somebody made it up is so small,
Mhm.
what does that tell us, right? That tells me that if the margin of error for belief is so thin, it's probably because there is no margin of error for belief. It's probably because the idea of that being real compared to the opposite of it not being real at all is such a dark, like, it's such a shade being cast that there's no way. It can't be one or the other. It has to be one or the other. It can't be both. So if I'm to believe this one ghost story is real, then suddenly all of the rest of them are either just as made up or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also so many ghost stories like how so many ghost stories have like the idea of rules.
Uh, how so? Give me an example.
Like just a broad example is let's say an exorcism is real, right?
Okay.
If an exorcism is real and it worked and you use the power of Christianity to banish a demon from a person's, you know, body or whatever, I already just in that story have to assume so many other things are also real that can't be proven.
Okay.
And it's the same with ghost stories a lot of the time. Where like you watch one of these ghost TV shows and
Yeah.
I have to just believe it and take it on face value that their little what do you call them? The little energy detectors or whatever work. And
Yeah.
I'm just believing that they work and that's how ghosts work. Is the little energy detector beeps and makes lights. Or the little spirit box. I just have to believe and it's a rule set in that ghosts can just talk through spirit boxes and they can make messages appear. Or do the what's the there's a three-letter thing for like when you can record a ghost EVP. When they do an
Yeah.
EVP, I just have to believe that I guess sometimes electronic things can pick up ghosts and I can't.
Okay.
Maybe we're getting to the bottom of it. Maybe I don't believe in ghosts because I feel like ghosts are calling me dumb. For not like, oh, of course this is real, idiot. You thought this was fake?
You barely even scratched the surface.
You barely even scratched the surface. Talk to me about Hollow Moon next time, Ghost.
Okay. Okay. Uh, then what about what? Give me a ghost story that you know that makes you think, how can anyone believe this?
Jeff the Talking Mongoose is uh,
E-
is
e-
is that one.
excuse me?
There, it was in London, or not even London. It was in England somewhere.
Okay.
God knows. I think it
Okay.
might have been somewhere out in Grimsby, maybe.
Okay.
And there was just some family there. I don't remember. I don't remember any of the specifics here. There was some family who, the daughter, I remember. I think was the first to start hearing a ghost, this disembodied voice speaking, and it was like an intelligent thing. They could even hear at one point the daughter having conversations with this voice. And
Okay.
at some point, I'm not even sure anyone ever saw the mongoose. I think it just called itself a mongoose. And it loved bacon without the fat, which is something we have in common. It
Okay.
loved it. It would scream. It wants bacon without the fat. Bacon without the fat, and it loved bacon without the fat. And it would. It was a lot. It was pretty raunchy sometimes. I think at one point it tried to cuck the dude, the father of the family. It tried to cuck him,
Okay.
but that's it. Like people in this town genuinely believed that this family. I mean, that's the story we get at least. Is they believed that this family had a frickin' intelligent speaking mongoose. And there were scientists coming to see if it was like a mongoose that was super smart and learned to talk, or if it was a ghost that was saying it was a mongoose. And it's not
When
real. It isn't
when
real.
when was this?
I don't know. Let me. You know what? Let me look it up. Hold
Yeah,
on.
look it up real
Google.
quick. Like what?
Also, the name is spelled weird. It's Gef. Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
That's not how you spell Jeff.
Uh,
You
the
dumb Brits.
Dolby
That's not how you
Spook.
spell it. The Dolby Spook.
That's what Wikipedia says he's also called as.
I prefer Jeff the misspelled mongoose.
Okay, it was not Grimsby at all. It was near the hamlet of Dalby on the Isle of Man.
Ah, yes, of course.
So
Of
this was
course.
in 1930s that this occurred.
Oh, okay. Well, no wonder everyone believed it. They had no other form of entertainment.
Well, like they just it's the believers say that really gets me is, oh, so you're saying it's more believable that one of these 13-year-olds was such a perfect ventriloquist that they could fool all of these people into thinking that there's a talking mongoose in their home? Yes! Yes, I do! Are you kidding me?
I
When
think
the alternative is you're telling me to believe in a ghost mongoose that can talk? But I
you're
digress.
Scott. You're going into the you stole fizzy lifting drink voice.
That's what you're telling me. You're telling me to believe in a mongoose that can intelligently converse with people. I don't know.
And is
Maybe
also a
it's real.
ghost.
What do I say? What do I know?
But like, okay, I I I like that you jumped to that and not uh the parents just made it up.
Well, I mean
Thought this will this
that
will
is
be a good
something.
laugh.
Obviously, here's the thing.
Okay.
Whether it's real or not,
Huh.
I'm pretty sure we have genuine testimony from people saying they've heard the voice. And this also reminds me
Hmm.
a lot of the infield haunting, the infield ghost, where we actually have recordings of that ghost, that supposed ghost, I should say. and I don't believe in it. I firmly believe that it was in the infield case. uh, Like it's exactly what you'd think. There's a ghost. It's a poltergeist. It's moving stuff throughout the house, and it yells at people in a scary voice.
Okay.
Um, the daughter in there, I genuinely believe she was just doing a voice, and that's it. You could hear it in the recording, and people hear that voice, and they're like, "You mean to say that that voice is coming from a little girl like that?" And I'm just like, "Yes," because the alternative is you believe that this house is some spiritual entity has taken over this house and is able to throw things with its mind. If that is real, like, where do we go from here? If that is real. And I guess that's what gets me.
Okay. All right.
Here's my middle of the road for listener, the one listener that tuned in and got to 42 minutes into the video,
Yeah,
right?
that isn't one of us that
That isn't
work
one
on
of
the
us.
channel.
Here's
So.
my pussyfoot middle of the road stance. If ghosts are real, right, then I do not believe it's what we think it is. If they are real, and if not every, but some of the phenomena that have been reported are actually truthful, then I think it must be some sort of quantum nonsense going on. Like, maybe there is, for all we know, there is some subatomic creature, right, that can just manipulate energy into its form, and maybe it gets, this is crazy, maybe it, like, gets its identity through what we think of it. And so
Ooh.
the reason we see the ghost of the ghost of the old preacher that passed away 200 years ago is because we know of a preacher that passed away 200 years ago, and wouldn't it be spooky if he was haunting the church?
Huh.
That's my middle of the road. If it's real, then I think that's probably what it would be. But it's not real, in my opinion.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you could believe anything you want. I'm not attacking you, Chris. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just saying what I think. And keyword think, because I don't know. People like to talk about the Goblin Universe with Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
Oh. Oh dear.
It's like
Goblin
this idea
Universe.
of basically the Goblin Universe is where the fair folk come from,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's where we get all
people
our.
like to get people like to get really pretty much what I was just saying. The subatomic thought form energy ghost thing
Mm-hmm.
is like what people like to say is what comes from the Goblin Universe. And I don't know. I
There.
will say this. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh no no no.
I've talked without you talking for so long, but I don't care, Chris. The one credence I will give to believers is that some of them, uh, they do try to be logical about the nonsensical. Like, I think a really good thing, a really good idea, is to just unify it all. Why would I believe in? Okay, so aliens are real, ghosts are real, demons are real, and those are all just three things that are real and have nothing to do with one another, right? Wouldn't
Okay.
it make more sense if it was all a symptom of the same problem? And that's kind of what the Goblin Universe is.
Okay. That that all these supernatural things are connected, and they may be just manifestations of the same thing.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Also, I really like people even say cryptids, like Bigfoot. The reason we can't get evidence of Bigfoot is because he's a literal ghost of. He's a goblin from. Oh God.
From the upside down.
I guess I don't know. Also, there's a funny where wouldn't it be so awesome if Nessie were literally a ghost of a dinosaur? Wouldn't that be incredible?
That would be so cool.
Oh, but here we are.
Oh man, that'd be so much better than it's a log.
You know what? And I'm gonna say this: weep for me, listener and
Well,
Chris. Weep
uh,
for me. I live in this world of no imagination, where everything is mundane, and nothing that is cool is real.
maybe that's why. Maybe that's why you didn't like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh my God, we circled back.
We circled back, baby.
You know, I don't like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I would never live in a house totally populated by tulpas. Is what I would do. There's no way.
Wait, hold on. What's a tulpa?
A tulpa is is it's like it's when you breathe life into a artificial construct, basically.
Oh, okay.
A thought construct.
Okay. See, my immediate thought was, they're all goblins.
I mean, maybe that's what a tulpa is. Maybe a tulpa rips itself out of the Goblin Universe, sees what you're thinking, and then becomes that. And then, because it is now more real with the added juice from the Goblin Universe, you believe in it harder, so that makes it even more real.
Oh shit. All right. I feel as though Goblin Universe is in the same vein as essential oils,
Sure. Or
but
crystals.
and uh, hold on. Don't knock crystals.
Don't
Okay.
knock crystals, apparently.
Don't knock crystals.
They give off some pretty good energy, I guess.
They do. All right.
Apparently.
They help me.
You know, I'll eat my words all day. If you can show me a ghost, Chris, I'll gladly be like, okay, I guess I was just wrong. Ghosts are real.
Or listener.
No, I'm talking to
'Cause
you, Chris.
I'm too lazy to try to find, and I'm too scared to go out there
If
and
you
try to
show
find
me
evidence.
that Bill Clinton is a tulpa and was a tulpa all along,
Oh shit!
then I'll be like, oh, okay, I guess you're right. He's from the Goblin Universe.
Who added the saxophone playing?
I guess, to make it more believable. He did the hobby.
Oh, okay. Okay. It didn't it
Think
wasn't
of a
enough.
single hobby that Barack Obama has.
Basketball.
All right, I can't tell if you're being racist. I have no idea if you're being
That's
racist.
not. Okay, so there's a basement to the White House, and each president personalizes their basement. He had a basketball court put in.
Great.
That dude loves basketball.
Maybe
I
he
almost
just
said
did that because he
baseball.
wanted to hang out with LeBron.
Maybe. I mean, when you're president, you could literally just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna give this person I really think is cool.
King James,
President.
I want you to come to the White House and hang out with me and Michelle, and maybe even we can Eiffel Tower her.
uh, hey, Ellen. Gonna give you the Presidential Medal of Freedom. You're gonna come over and we're gonna have pizza.
Who?
Ellen.
Ellen DeGeneres?
He gave Ellen the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
More
Why
like-
else would he?
More like Ellen DeGenerate.
Oh!
Get roasted,
Listen.
Ellen!
Oh! Finally, someone put her in her place.
Finally.
Finally, it's been a long time coming. Let's be real.
Here we are.
All right. Let's end on with a little fun fact about ourselves.
A little fun fact about ourselves. You go first.
Okay. A little fun fact about me. I enjoy my hot cocoa with chili powder in it.
All right. That wasn't fun.
Oh, that wasn't a fun fact.
No. You want to try again?
I'm Charlie Brown. I am terrified of everything.
Charlie Brown is scared of everything?
Well, that's what in I forget which one, but he's like Lucy's like being a psychiatrist or whatever, and is like, well, maybe you're scared of this, Charlie Brown, or this, or maybe you have this, which is the fear of everything. And he's like, that's it, and he yells, and she like falls back. Haha,
I love peanuts.
they are delicious.
I'm in the cartoon. Here's a fun fact about myself. I am a little bit worried that every single one of these podcasts we record will devolve into me screaming about how goblins aren't real.
Well, there's only one way to find that out, dear listener.
And
I
that's
guess
by
you're
going to
now
the
gonna
next
have to
one.
watch every single one of these and
Yep.
see if it's true.
Well.
Yep.
Also, if you want to, a bit of a plug. If you want to hate yourself,
Ooh, I want to hate myself.
watch Hellier on YouTube,
Oh God, not Hellier.
and maybe you'll
Oh.
get even an ounce of the pure, unadulterated rage I feel about goblins.
If we force John and Cody to watch it, we have to do a review on Hellier. God damn.
Here's my
That-
thing about Hellier.
oh,
All right,
God.
before you go, before I leave, I will say this.
Mhm.
It's well made.
Yeah.
It served its purpose. It was a documentary, and I watched it, and it got its point across.
It
I
made
just
me
didn't-
feel things.
Did it really? I mean, it
Yeah,
did. It
like-
made me feel a lot of things, I guess.
It made you angry, and it made me go, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Which is an emotion.
I guess. But other than that, it filled me with rage. And
God.
here I am, still talking about it like 5 years after I saw it the first time.
Mhm. Well, it's only been like what 2 years since season 2.
I don't know. God knows. I don't know. I remember we watched season 2, and I was just seething and quiet for the most of it. Like I didn't even say much. I was just like, oh my god, synchronicity. You okay?
God damn
Alright.
synchronicity! Oh my god!
Oh,
If I
okay.
have to
So
hear-
there's goblins in this city now, huh?
If I have to hear somebody say synchronicity without it being ironic, I'm going to fucking hurl. Oh man.
Goodbye.
Why are you still
Listening.
watching? Get
Listening.
out of here.
Listening, not watching. They're not watching anything. They're listening.
Oh.
I'm gonna stop.
Why are you still
recording.
listening?
Do I hit stop?